你好，谢谢。我很高兴听很多聪明的人公司这个区块链魔术。So thank you. I'm very happy to hear a lot of great progress in blockchain technology. I believe it's very important right now, and certain transitions. There's a lot of different groups brought together here, from finance, from gaming, computer security, and technical people. I'm here representing a Vermont Secure Computing. It's a small company in Northeast United States, and I'm also working now in Hefei as a professor of physics, and but it's the Vermont Secure Computing that has brought me here today. So I'm going to talk about the sort of the first application of blockchain, which might be boring to some of you. It's very simple, just an exchange of value. We're not going to be crossing chains. We're not going to be using smart contracts. Just a simple exchange commodity currency, and a possibility for a national digital currency. It's perhaps a difficult topic, and I would like to hear what John Mullen and Carl Wegner have to say on this topic. My perspective is from a security standpoint, so I'm just going to tell you some possibilities, and I'm not going to tell you the social implications or my own opinion, and just different possibilities and what the security implications might be. There's a picture from my hometown. We had a little connection yesterday with people talking about block trees and investing in trees and not the leaves. So we have some connection with trees here. So somebody asked Paul Krugman what he thought about a national digital currency, and he said that the dollar is already a digital currency. And he's right in some sense. The question is, what kind is it? So there are some digital currency is not so specific. So hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about the types. Of course, as you all know better than perhaps most of the world, we're moving towards a cashless society. How many people here have paper money in their pocket right now? Anybody? Some people? My hand up. Okay. And how many people have some blockchain money in their pocket? Somebody? Your hand? Nobody else? A few people admit it. Okay. So, do we need a national currency? We might ask this. One thing I love about this field is that people are asking fundamental questions that you might not have asked 20 years ago. So, do we need a national currency? Switzerland said yes, we need a national currency. We refuse to use the euro. Kublai Khan is a famous name from Marco Polo reporting to Europe that the idea of a fiat currency, which came originally from China. He used it to great advantage. The U.S. Constitution says no, we don't want a national currency, we're using gold and silver. But of course that changed. We moved over to a central bank that issued a national currency. Perhaps, so we don't need to get into that interesting question. If you do want to explore that question, there's an interesting book, Currency Wars. Here's a couple headlines recently up on this topic. A gentleman from Deutsche Bank claims that the fiat-based currency systems could be coming to an end. Bank of England's economist said something to this effect. We had the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, said that we should be careful and keep special track of the blockchain currencies. start growing. So this is an important question right now, but it's not actually a new question. In 1974, an important paper was published by Javier Shamir in England about how to do public and private key cryptography. And after this technology emerged, many people thought that this would lead to a digital currency system. And they thought that it would change a lot of things politically to have this power in the hands of you and me that do strong cryptography. However, nothing happened for almost 30 years, or more than 30 years. These people in the 80s talked about this a lot. Open source movement began. In 1997, Wayne Dye published a little paper called B-Money, which described a system very similar to what Bitcoin is. And of course, in 2009, the Genesis block was published. Milton Friedman said there would be a rise of digital currency, change the financial landscape. A lot of examples here. So we had a very interesting panel yesterday about public and private blockchains. So I'm going to extend this a little bit to public and private currencies. The first public currency that I know of was the Yap Island stone. They call it the Ray stone. And believe it or not, this is a currency. So this is a large coin. And so to use this coin, of course, you can't carry this around with you. Who's familiar with this system? Anybody? People get good. It's very similar to the way that the blockchain works in some ways, because everybody can see where the money is. So you can't. There's not going to be any counterfeiting. It's all visible. And instead of moving the coin around, you just move the ownership of the coin. Everybody says, oh, now that coin belongs to you, and now it belongs to you. So we're also familiar with privately issued and centralized systems. They work to great effect. And important technologies look at Wishy. We have publicly issued and somewhat centralized systems as well. I'll give some examples. We have publicly issued and decentralized systems. We have things that are pre-mined, issued, some chunk of money produced at the beginning. So we're going to talk a bit about the monetary policy involved here. And then there's different ways to secure your coin. Proof of work and proof of stake, as someone earlier talked about proof of intelligence. There's a lot of interesting ideas out there. And these all rely to some degree on cryptography. I'll say something more about that. Okay, a couple quick examples. Liberty Dollar was around in the early 2000s. This is a private, centralized group that let you trade a digital asset. It was shut down shortly after Bitcoin came on the scene. Assets were confiscated. Yeah, you can look into that history. Aurora Coin was billed as a coin for Iceland, and then producers wanted to give some of it to every citizen of Iceland. It's called an airdrop. Give everybody some of this coin, and it's a lovely idea. It would be great if you could give every person, a little bit of money. The trouble is that there's this problem called the Sybil attack, where you can't really tell if a person has come twice, or someone could pretend to be three people and get more coin. It's really hard to do that fairly. It's a logistical problem. This was not hugely successful. Of course, you're familiar with these systems. Ecuador has a digital dollar now, centralized. I don't know too much about it. We have the USDT, the Tether, say built on the Mastercoin on the ETC. It's a centralized group, but it's publicly issued, so you can see how many are out there. Russia's talking about making a bit ruble. There's rumors, lots of rumors. Maybe you guys can tell me what's going on here. going on in the United States. You might be able to tell me as well. I don't know. The special drawing rights from the UN. What are they up to? I'm not sure. Gold is still around. People have been trying to make various forms of electronic gold based on pictures of the gold and storage. People still talk about building a reserve currency with a gold reserve. The hard part again is proving it. How do you prove that you have the gold there? It's really not doesn't seem like there's a solution to that problem. A lot of people compare these things with Visa because they do a lot of transactions, but Visa is not a currency. It's a payment platform. I believe they're well situated to jump in and help people. And they use many currencies. They even settle renminbi transactions. So why not settle in, Lei or at some point they probably will move in. Hawala is another interesting system if you're not familiar with it. It's just more person-to-person networking. So this is kind of my center of my talk here. I took this figure from Margaret Kennedy, who wrote a paper on inflation-free money. And these are different ways you can, if you want to introduce a currency token, you can do it over time. And there's different ways to do it. So, for example, this is the pre-mine curve here. You introduce all your currencies right at the beginning, like Ripple or Next, and then it stays constant over time. What I call a delta function. We have this curve C, which is an exponential. In this place, we're doing a little bit of interest. Every year, maybe we grow by 3%. And more like what we have with the fiat currencies. Of course, this is what we think of as inflation. And this dotted line is a linear expansion of the money supply. This is the way Ethereum is run. And Dogecoin just means every block or every amount of time we produce a fixed amount of new currency. You have to produce new currency for a decentralized system. Otherwise, you don't have anything to pay your miners with, the people running your network. Of course, you could just pay the fees, perhaps, but then they run into issues of people not wanting to pay the fees and wanting to use another coin. So curve A here is Bitcoin. It's a geometric series. We're right about here now in the timeline. A little more than 3/4 have been distributed. 17 million or so. Is that where we are now? And this is another curve I like to use. This logarithm. So it also grows slower over time, like this one, but it's much slower to arrive at a maximum. So you have more time to distribute your coin. This is an experimental currency that we built with Vermont Supercomputing called Woodcoin. And it has this logarithmic growth. So you avoid some problems with having fees. When we get here on the Bitcoin curve, it will be very interesting to see what happens because the fees are already getting quite high. And see what happens. Yeah, geometric curve, Litecoin, Monero, also use that. Not too much to say about this slide. Everybody knows this stuff. Some good talks this morning about it. Just a lot of people talk about this technology as disruptive, and it's only disruptive if people aren't ready for it. So if people prepare and understand the different risks involved with new technologies, different risks involved with not using it and with using it, then we can have a smooth transition. I look around here, I'm lucky to have been living in China for 6 months. I see a lot of disruptive technologies and people adapt quickly. And so I have hope that this will be the case with these technologies too. Problem with decentralized currencies. Someone earlier said that the banking service sucks. And so I would respond to him that, hey, Bitcoin service sucks too. There's nobody to call. If something goes wrong, they say sorry for your loss. Keyword. People losing passwords, people getting fooled into investing with third-party, counterparty risk, losing their keys. Multi-signature trust is a great solution. I'd like to work with that with some clients, make an unenforceable trust vehicle. Ideal information security involves open source code, offline computers, so that you're not on the internet. Faraday cage, this means you're not emitting any radio waves, so you're in isolation, and so you can, this is, for the very paranoid user, can reach this state of isolated ideal security. So data diode means you keep track of all the data that emerges from the computer. You know exactly what came out in it. And these are some of our projects, partners. Looks like that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Lucas. I actually have a question regarding, for national cryptocurrency. One important issue is that whether the central authority should have power to control the circulation. Because in monetary theory, that the perfect currency need to adapt to the growth of economy. When economy is booming, you need to issue more currency. When the economy is not so long, you need to withdraw some currency from the system. So how do we adapt if we use a blockchain? Because we don't have control over the circulation anymore.
That's a great question. There's I kind of missed this. If you go with the fully decentralized approach, you don't have the option to add a new currency. So if you want to have a system where you have more control, there's a few options. You can have a system like a private blockchain. You can have a system with keyed mining, which certain people have keys which enable them to add coin. If you have something like USDT, the tether system, they just add currency. Of course, as soon as that has certain advantages in terms of being able to have that control, but it also has the disadvantage that you are open to some corruption. And this is a problem. I don't know, President Xi speaks about this problem. And it's something to be aware of, that you can avoid that kind of corruption. To issue your coin, you need to choose the hash function, your monetary supply policy, which you refer to, and a signature method, which typically they use elliptic curve signatures, but there's some other methods. Then another option is to, rather than issuing your own coin, is to stamp an existing coin. In other words, it's considered gold. Rather than just using gold, you can use gold that has a stamp on it, an official signature. So you could take Bitcoin, for example, and say these coins are now our tokens, our official coins. You can only use these ones. And if you do that, then you can take more Bitcoin later and stamp that too and say, oh, we also have these to work with. So you have that option. If you do this sort of thing, you need to create a demand for your coin. So you need to have some services, taxes, resources that people need to use the coin. So that way it becomes useful and has demand. Other options are prohibition. It's just, some people say this is infeasible, and it certainly is difficult. Another thing we can do is allow private sector to experiment and use those coins after some time. One more point, sorry, go late, but really important here is education. learn that this word crypto comes from the Greek, means hidden. And I think it's ironic that we have this public system, we use this word crypto, which means hidden. It's not really a great word. This is language. But if people are educated to how these information sciences work, and if they're educated in the importance of social and environmental awareness, then these problems will be solved, in my opinion. It's a question of getting the right education, getting people to use it properly, and we can use them to minimize corruption.
Okay. Any questions? Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for your talk. I just want to know your personal opinion. What do you think is the future for national digital currency?
Well, thank you for that. I think there will be a lot of different experiments. I think we'll continue to have for at least another generation. We'll have the same currencies that we know of. People are slow to change. And Thomas Kuhn discussed the structure of scientific revolution. He said the way that paradigms change is that people who lived in the old paradigm die off. So we have to wait a long time. I don't see a real quick change to everybody using Bitcoin. That's not going to happen. I see it being a slow affair. But I don't have a good answer for you. I'm not even sure what my own opinion is. But thank you.